series of 5 dedicated to the creation of scatter and line plots in the KIWI ExploreLive module. In this video, I will demonstrate how you can show reference lines and spline lines on top of the actual data. We will use a small pharmacokinetic data set containing, I think, something between 10 and 20 subjects who receive a single dose. And we are displaying the dose normalized concentration variable as a function of time since first dose. You can show reference lines and spline lines on top of the actual data by using the functionality of the reference lines panel. Let's start with horizontal lines. You can enter one or more values separated by a comma. So let's put a value at 2.5, and that's my first line here. And let's show another line at, let's say, 15. So now you have a line at 15 and one at 2.5. This may represent some form of therapeutic area. You can add vertical lines at also one or more vertical lines, say 2, 4, 6, 12, 24. This would be displayed at the proper coordinates. I'm going to remove that. Sometimes you, instead of displaying horizontal or vertical lines, you may want to display a line that has a slant, and you can do that by using the intercept and slope fields. These two fields combined allow you to generate a single reference line with a given intercept. So oftentimes you want to use that if you want to assess the correlation between two variables. So typically you go for an intercept of 0 and a slope of 1, in which case you got this unit line shown on top of your data. But you can literally select any kind of slope, like 2.5 slope and sorry, an intercept of 2.5 and a slope of 0.62, if that makes sense to your data. And this this line will represent these coordinates or these parameters. I'm going to remove these reference lines, and now I'm going to switch to the functionality of creation of spline line or smooth lines in this case. The default is to not show any spline lines. You can choose to set this type field to lows, and in this case you will create a single spline line with a smoothness factor of 2/3, which is the typical smoothness factor. You can increase or decrease this value if you need the line to be more rigid or more flexible to capture trends. You can add a confidence interval around that loss line. Here you can see it as this shaded area around the reference line. If you use a color by or a symbol by variable, like in this case I'm using the dose variable, you're going to have to use the line also to have, I'm going to remove the confidence interval to actually see something. So when you have the two, the line by and the color by variable, you can create a loss line that is specific to each group, or you can decide to ignore these settings and just create a single line. So again, if you want a line that is specific to your groups, you need to set or define a variable in the line by. If you don't provide a color by, you will actually obtain multiple smooth line for each of the group defined by your line by variable, but they won't be really distinguished by any kind of color. So most of the time, you want to use the same variable for your line and your color by variable. And this is how you get a group-specific spline line. Discover the functionality related to reference line and spline lines. Additional functionality of the advanced setting panel will be covered in additional videos. Thank you.